Got the middle game of this three-game weekend series. It is the Cleveland Indians who just kind of feel like they're counting down the days to their third consecutive division title, taking on Shohei Ohtani, Mike Scioscia, and the Angels of Anaheim. Welcome inside Progressive Field. Happy you can join us off the shores of Lake Erie. Aaron Goldfield alongside Mark Gubza. And Gooby, we're going to have a chance tonight to watch simply one of the most dominant starting pitchers in the game, the reigning Cy Young Award winner in Corey Kluber, going up against the guy who, well, the talk about Babe Ruth for him coming to the stage, Shohei Ohtani, he really looks like Babe Ruth when he plays the Indians.
Well, Aaron, when you think about it, what he has done against Cleveland this season, what he did last night, first time he's hit a home run on the road. That's a 96-mile-an-hour fastball hit the other way, and then a 94-mile-an-hour fastball hit that one over 440 feet. He had a 4-hit performance, first time in his career. 3 runs scored, 3 RBIs. So Shohei Ohtani even mixing a stolen base. 9 for 14 in his career versus the Indians. With 4 home runs, he does have a home run in his career against Corey Kluber, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. What he's been able to do throughout his career, 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Last time out, 7 1/3, just 1 earned run, 1 walk, 5 punch-outs. What he was able to do, real good balance on that back leg. His slider, his cutter were excellent. Curveball, changeup. He is one of the best in baseball. He will go deep in the game on a consistent basis. It's going to be a lot of fun to see this matchup between Corey Kluber and Shohei Ohtani once again here tonight.
Now we cannot wait. Corey Kluber, one of the best in the business, making his 23rd start of the season. And Ohtani coming up, just a simply brilliant performance last night. A couple of very memorable home runs, especially the one that nearly got more than halfway up the lower bowl in right field. We'll take a look at Mike Scioscia's starting lineup today, which unfortunately does not feature Mike Trout. Trout, once again an MVP favorite, is missing his 3rd consecutive game because of a wrist injury. Cole Calhoun will lead things off. He has been the Angels' best hitter, which is a surprise since the All-Star break. Albert Pujols looking for his first career hit against Corey Kluber, 0 for 16. And Andrelton Simmons for his career, batting nearly .330 against the Tribe. And for Corey Kluber, his last start, as you were talking about, Gooby, fantastic, working into the 8th inning. He can be unhittable at times.
Yeah, real good balance his last time out. That was important. He's healthy once again, driving towards that plate. Fastball is going to be pretty firm at 90-95 range. He'll throw his cut fastball, curveball, and changeup. He throws a lot of strikes, works incredibly fast, and very difficult to steal against. One of the most difficult pitchers to steal against in all of baseball.
Now the defense behind Corey Kluber tonight for the Indians. Leonys Martin, a new face, of course, here in Cleveland, made his Progressive Field debut last night. Can cover a ton of ground out there in center field. Meanwhile, it is Roberto Perez doing the catching. Yan Gomes a little dinged up with a hamstring injury. Up the middle, Lindor and Kipnis. Alonso, a new face this season in Cleveland. And of course, Jose Ramirez. We want to talk about MVP candidates. He and Lindor, in fact. What an all-star left side of the infield. And who else? Who better to have behind the plate than Cowboy Joe West, who is the longest tenured umpire in Major League history. This is his 40th season. He has umpired over, well, let's count them up, 5,000 games.
Maybe we'll sing a song for us during the course of the game, too. He's been known to do that.
A bit of a musician. Mike Scioscia, the longest tenured manager in the majors. This is his 19th season, of course, a World Series with the Angels back in 2002. Calhoun to lead things off, and Kluber's first pitch is fouled away for strike 1.
It's not unusual to see Corey Kluber work ahead of the count. He's comfortable with all his pitches getting ahead, and even as a hitter, you don't want to put yourself in position to be behind in the count. You have to deal with those secondary pitches. So you're going to see some early swing for the Angels against Kluber this evening.
Pretty extreme shift on for Calhoun right away. And of course, the danger with being so aggressive against a pitcher of his caliber is that all of a sudden it's the 8th inning and he's got 80 pitches.
But you always, as a hitter, you're looking for one pitch in a sequence. And that may be the best pitch, maybe the first pitch, or could be the 3rd or 4th. But you want to put yourself in position. You get a fastball against Kluber. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult.
Right to the left side of the shift. Francisco Lindor is there for round number 1.
With that shift on, another pretty good swing. Cole Calhoun has really turned around his season for the Angels. Lines out with Lindor right there. He's special fielder himself at short. Or at that point, playing second.
That's right. 1 up, 1 down for Justin Upton. Upton with good numbers against Kluber over the course of his career. Of course, Upton was in the Indians division with the Tigers, so he's seen Kluber rather more than once. 3 home runs against Corey Kluber, nearly a .280 hitter, which I think most guys would
Yeah.
Love to have those numbers.
I know Albert Pujols would.
Pujols still looking for his first career hit off of Kluber.
Think about it, Mike Trout, who's not in the lineup tonight, just 2 for 15 in his career versus Kluber. That's saying how well Kluber could throw the baseball.
Mike Scioscia and the Angels winners last night despite Trout's absence. These are the first games he's missing all season. Well, when you look at the breaking ball for Kluber, now he is reluctant to give it an actual name, as we see Trout, a spectator tonight. Some would call it a curveball, some would call it a slider. Scioscia called it a slider, but for him it's just a breaking ball and it's unhittable.
I think a lot of times you'll see pitchers call it a slurve, as a combination between a slider and a curveball, because he can change speeds with it, throw it to both sides of the plate. It's such an effective pitch for him. See, for me, when I look at that, that's a slider, because there's a sharp, true break to that, but it also have a little bit more tilt with his curveball. So it's a combination at times, depending how hard he throws it.
Or a strikeout for Corey Kluber. Now number 2, Upton goes down swinging. All right, Mark, how about our 4 keys for this one tonight?
Well, the big thing for me is Shohei Ohtani, what he has done against AL Central. A .400 batting average with 7 home runs. 2 of the best in baseball at shortstop here tonight. Andrelton Simmons, Francisco Lindor, and Jose Ramirez making a name for himself as far as an MVP candidate. We'll get into some of his numbers as the game progresses. One of the best in baseball, but these 2 shortstops today, so much fun to watch them play. Not only swinging the bat, but with the glove.
Shift on for Ohtani. Looks at ball 1. Of course, Ohtani last night, his first multi-homer game in his major league career, and his first home runs away from Angel Stadium. Which, when you think about hitting in that ballpark, especially once the sun goes down, that is not an easy place to take him deep.
And the majority of his home runs have been to center field, to right center field. That home run that Mike Scioscia told us earlier today, he was really impressed. Left center field on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball from Clevenger. It's a pretty tough pitch here. A cut fastball. You're sitting on a fastball. 2-0 count. You got one, but at the last second that cuts in on your hand. Very difficult to keep fair.
Three and 1 to Ohtani. Kluber's second start this season came in Anaheim. That was back in April, of course. 2 runs, 7 innings, 6 strikeouts. He did give up a home run to Ohtani in that game.
There's a cut fastball. And both home runs that Ohtani hit last night against Clevenger were fastballs. And there's nothing you can do. You're sitting, you want to get a fastball, Shohei Ohtani, but Kluber goes, I'll give you a fastball, but I'll cut it instead.
The payoff. Strike 3 call. Back-to-back strikeouts from Corey Kluber to end the top of the first. Now the starting lineup for Terry Francona, one of the best leadoff hitters of the game. Francisco Lindor leads things off. Jose Ramirez, what a campaign. 25 steals, 32 home runs. And then, of course, the DH Edwin Encarnacion with nearly 25 homers. Felix Pena is up on the mound. Getting the start tonight for Mike Scioscia and the Angels. 28 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. Unfortunately for Pena, his last start was truly one of the worst starts in the game so far this year. He could not escape the first inning. In fact, he recorded only 1 out.
Yeah, and his fastball velocity down a little bit his last couple starts. Generally, it's going to be 90, 95. Curveball that you saw there and changeup. But early on, right away, you see a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Last 2 starts, he hasn't touched above 91. So if you're the Angels, that's a positive sign, even though that was not in the strike zone.
Another fastball missing. 3-1 to Lindor. Second in the majors in extra base hits. He is first in runs scored.
Pretty patient hitter too. Like last night in the game, generally will take the first pitch. His third at bat in a situation where he had a chance to do some damage. He chased a first pitch and he popped it up.
Pena spending parts of the last 2 years in the Cubs bullpen, now spending some time in the Angels rotation.
And getting acclimated to that starting rotation. He has said to me a number of times that he would like to get into that 6th and 7th inning, get to that 90 to 100 pitch plateau. But Mike Scioscia said he wants them around that 70, 80 and be effective.
Now Pena, you look at his age, 28 years old, and you might think that he's a little bit more of a veteran than he really is. And now faces Michael Brantley. Leadoff walk to Lindor. If you think about it, in terms of major league experience, this is only his 8th career big league start. He has fewer than 80 innings in the major leagues. Very young pitcher in terms of experience.
It's a patient lineup for the Indians too. They will put themselves into those good hitters counts.
Garcia keeping an eye on Lindor down at first base. 1-1.
Learned a little bit of that from Martin Maldonado, who was traded over the Astros. He's one of the best he was as far as back picks to first base.
Simply one of the strongest arms. That's one of the interesting things this year about the Angels. They can make a strong case. Won the winter. Billy Epler was very busy. They won the prize of the offseason in Ohtani. And there have been 3 teams in the American League West who were buyers at the deadline, and the Angels were not one of them. In fact, they were sellers. You mentioned Maldonado. Kinsler going to Boston, unfortunately now on the disabled list.
And Mike Scioscia's club has dealt with a lot of injuries, both to the pitching staff and even position players. Cozart has been out for a long period of time. That was another big deal they pulled off during the offseason, taken away from Cincinnati, a 3-year deal. And this is one of the counts too for Terry Francona. He has his team running quite a bit. They're amongst the leaders as far as stolen bases. This is a fastball count. 2-1. You may see Lindor, who's got 16 stolen bases, and Brantley, who handles the bat well. This is a good count for them to do something.
There he goes. Simmons covering. They got him. Lindor caught stealing for just the 5th time this year.
How quick that was as far as pop time for Arcia. Quickly gets rid of it. And 2 of the best. We talked about them earlier today. And Anthony Simmons and Lindor, how quick they are with their hands. Quickly gets that tag in there before Lindor is able to get to second base.
Now wipes away that leadoff walk. Now Simmons simply one of the best. 3 Gold Gloves, won a Platinum Glove. Consecutive walks. One out, 1 on. Brings up Ramirez. Take a look at the defense behind Felix Pena in this one. Well, Upton, a 5-year deal this offseason, is in left field. Eric Young Jr. in center. Cole Calhoun, a Gold Glove in right. Arcia, we just saw his arm behind home plate. And Pujols seeing more time at first base with Ohtani back off the disabled list. Up the middle, Fletcher and Simmons. We've already sung his praises. Caleb Coward getting the start at third base.
Albert Pujols more games already this season than the last 2 seasons combined at first base.
1-on for Ramirez. Ramirez first in the majors in extra base hits and is now in second place in terms of home runs. JD Martinez going deep today against the Yankees. Saw that earlier today on FS1.
I bet Eovaldi how well he threw for Boston today. Former Yankee, amongst others.
Coming over this time from Tampa Bay. A ball and a strike.
Absolutely amazing what he has put together on the offensive side. Getting on base, working counts, walking, driving the baseball, uses the whole field so well. And if you make a mistake anywhere near inner half of the plate, it's going to go a long way.
Now, he had a 32 game on base streak in the first half. Starter for the American League at third base this year and last season.
He had a tough time with off-speed backdoor pitches last night. Unusual to see him strike out as many times as he did last night. That was all backdoor sliders.
High pop-up slicing. Simmons wants it. 2 outs.
It's funny, sometimes even the best hitters, when they're in certain counts, they're trying to get to a pitch, but they jam themselves and get themselves out. That's why you always try to preach to pitchers, whether at any level, whether it's high school or college or professional baseball. Hey, hitters can get themselves out if you throw enough strikes, but if you walk people, already paying you with 2 walks in this game, you put yourself in a tough situation.
Now 2 outs. Brantley at first base after the walk. Here is Encarnacion. Now Pena today facing an Indians lineup that has simply been one of the most productive in the majors this year. 4th in average, 3rd in homers, OPS, runs per game, steals as well. And Encarnacion, one of 4 hitters who have driven in at least 60 runs so far this year. No other team can say they have that many 60 RBI men in the lineup.
And when you talk about powerful offenses, you generally go to Boston, New York, Houston, but
sure,
it's Cleveland. Terry Francona's club has been very effective, especially when they get on a roll. They're very tough to stop offensively. But if you make some good pitches, you can shut them down at times, but when they get on a roll, it's tough.
Upton comes in left field. And he puts it away for round number 3. So consecutive walks to open up the first, but no harm done. with us tonight from inside Progressive Field. Aaron Goldsmith, Mark Gubiza, as Albert Pujols leads it off. Pujols has been a hot hitter lately, so does that translate? Is this the night where he picks up his first ever hit against Corey Kluber? 0 for 16 lifetime.
It's never going to be easy against Kluber, even if you're swinging the bat well against him. Gives you so many different looks.
Alonso tracking this towards foul ground. 0 for 17. MLB.TV is now available at a lower price for $59.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game. Plus, get free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV to take advantage of this special offer. One up, one down here is Andrelton Simmons. A lifetime .328 hitter against the Indians.
He's always been really good on four seam and pitches upper part of the strike zone. And you notice right away Corey Kluber is a student of the game. He's pitching down below the strike zone or at the knees.
Down to one knee, Lindor. Simmons out to his counterpart. 4 pitches, 2 outs. What do you think, Gooby? If you want to be a really successful hitter in the game today, do you have to be able to hit that pitch up in the zone?
You have to make that adjustment. I know Cleveland, even in spring training as a hitting club, they made that adjustment because they saw what the Astros were doing, how successful they were. That four-seam fastball, that rising spin rate on a fastball, that you have to try to bring those hands up and get through the baseball. It's not easy to do. It's always been a difficult pitch to square up, but you have to make that adjustment. It's like everyone does in baseball. Wasn't that long ago, everything was at the knees or below, trying to get contact, soft contact, outs. Now it's about the swing and miss rate, upper part of the strike zone.
Strike one to David Fletcher, rookie out of Orange, California. So local product to the Angels, 24 years old. Comes in, gets a piece of him.
His favorite player growing up, David Eckstein. And you know he wasn't getting out of the way of anything on the inside part of the plate. Runs this with just a little bit of a drop in his elbow and wears it right in the rib area. I don't know if David Eckstein would like that one either. I'm sure David Fletcher doesn't either.
He'd have the flak jacket on for that one. Francisco Arcia coming up here. Look at his numbers so far this year. Well, the sample size is small. 14 at bats. But what Arcia has done is historic. Smokes right to Alonso. And a young man who has homered in each of his first 2 games of the big leagues lines out to quickly end the top of the second. Nice Swiffer. If you've got a life, you got a Swiffer. Scoreless as we open up the bottom of the second. Now, Felix Pena, it was a rocky first inning. 17 pitches, only 5 strikes. And yet he was able to get out of it.
That's taking pitching backwards to another level.
First pitch missing, ball 1 to Yonder Alonso. So he has gone ball 1 to each of the first 5 hitters. Right back to the mound. Pena lobs a softball to first, 1 out. I get ready for the best young hoop stars in the world at the first ever Junior NBA World Championship, featuring players from 70 countries on 32 teams, all in one global event. The championship begins Tuesday right here on FS1 or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Quickly, 1 down for Elkie Cabrera.
And another 1-0 count to start in the bat for Pena against Cleveland.
We mentioned his last start, 7 runs over a third of an inning last Sunday in Anaheim against the Mariners. Pena making his 8th start of the season. Today he has had only 1 start where he's got at least 6 innings. You look at the rotation, Gooby, overall for the Angels, and this has been a bullpen that has had to sop up a lot of innings. For Charles Nagy, the pitching coach, Mike Scioscia as well, of course. Fletcher, snare, the 360 for round number 2.
Yeah, many conversations with Billy Epler during spring training for the Angels. And his thing, well, we're pretty deep as far as starters. We're going 9, maybe 10. Hopefully we won't have to go into that, but they've gone there and beyond that so far this season as far as needing some starting pitching. And their bullpen really has been taxed because of that. A lot of innings out of their bullpen. At one point in early May, they almost had more innings pitched out of their bullpen as compared to their starting rotation. So there's a lot of work out of the bullpen because of the injuries to the staff.
2 outs on the ground. Here is Kipnis. Well, since 6 innings is the new benchmark for a start in baseball, there are only 5 teams that have had fewer starts of 6 innings than the Angels. There's not much length at all for the rotation for the Halos this year.
And then you look over, if you're the Angels, on the other side of the field, you see Cleveland. In my opinion, outside of Houston, one of the deepest rotations in baseball.
Well, the Astros, the only rotation that has logged more innings overall than that of the Indians.
Trevor Bauer has been outstanding. He's in that conversation for Cy Young in the American League. You talk about a guy going deep in games. He is going deep in a lot, and he doesn't want to come out of the game. Terry Francona told us today he doesn't like to come out of games a whole lot, which you want to see from your starters.
Just like the first inning, the second ends with Upton making the catch in a very quick bottom of the second for Felix Pena. He's been batting 8th, leads it off for the Angels. First pitch strike from Corey Kluber. He's done that more times than not so far today. No surprise. Only 16 at-bats for Cowart so far this year in the majors. 50 games last year with the Angels.
When you look at Kluber throw, it doesn't seem like anything is ever in the middle of the plate. It's on a corner, it's cutting, it's sinking. Perfect mechanics when you think about when you look at Corey Kluber. His balance over the pitch and rubber is outstanding. He wants to ride that fastball upstairs. And he doesn't miss. A lot of times when a pitcher goes inside, he'll drift out over the plate, and that becomes very hittable. If he was going to miss, his purpose was to miss off the plate in.
Strike 3 called. Third strikeout. And the second that comes looking, facing Kluber.
Unhittable pitch, a backdoor slider. You give up on it as a hitter, you think it's a ball, and you're at the mercy of the home plate umpire. There's this grip of his backdoor cutter. He can control both sides of the plate with that pitch as well as anybody in the game. There's a reason why he's won a couple Cy Youngs. Outstanding career numbers, ERA, pitching in the American League.
Eric Young Jr. slices this inside the bag and out to Brantley. He hunts for 2. That long slide, and he gets in there safe. First hit comes from the number 9 hitter with just 10 at-bats so far this year in the big league.
Yeah, picked up his first hit of the season as an Angel last night. Stays back on this baseball well, and that's one of the few. He did get the middle part of the plate to stay back and lines that one down into that corner. Brantley played that very, very well. Has a strong throwing arm and a good throwing position, made it a lot closer play, especially the speed that Eric Young Jr. has.
First runner in scoring position for the Angels. And for the second time, here is leadoff man Cole Calhoun. Now the turnaround this year from the start of the season to now in Cole Calhoun is remarkable. That is not reflected in the overall numbers. He's batting beneath .210 on the year, but he was truly one of the worst hitters in the game the first couple of months.
Yeah, and his hands were completely different. He didn't really have much of a leg kick, more of a stride, a little toe tap. Hands down over the plate, a little higher leg kick, and his timing and confidence a lot better. Had 10 home runs in the month of July, 322 batting average. Always a great defender out in the outfield, strong throwing arm, former Gold Glove winner. It's one thing he didn't take into to his defense, his struggles at the plate. He was still solid defensively.
That's what made the struggles so surprising. He has always been a very good offensive player. And to shift on for him. He gets ahead 2-1. Since roughly mid-June, he leads the American League in home runs with 13. Now keep in mind, he had 1 homer over his first 51 games. Good speed at second.
That was the opening day with a triple also. His extra base hits in that opening day, and it was a long time in between extra base hits for Cole Calhoun. Early in the season, he would chase that pitch. You can see the confidence in the batter's box now. He's able to read that one out of the strike zone, out of the hand of Corey Kluber.
Now Kluber would win blinking contest against anybody. His 3-1. And a very rare walk issued by Corey Kluber. 1 out, 2 on. Now, you were mentioning some of the numbers for his career. You can see the reigning Cy Young Award winner, also in 2014. 3rd most punch outs in franchise history. They've had a couple of good ones, especially in Feller and McDowell. How about the last one? One of two pitchers with 200 innings, 200 strikeouts in 4 consecutive seasons.
The other being Max Scherzer. That's pretty good company you're in. He has been very, very good, very durable.
1 out, 2 on the pitch to Upton.
Great work ethic. Outstanding shape. Allows him to get to that 200+ innings pitched each and every year.
One and one. I mentioned how rare that walk is to Calhoun. Only the 20th walk issued this year by Kluber. Earlier this season, he had a streak that finally came to a close. 46 1/3 innings where Kluber did not walk a batter. And it spanned nearly 180 batters faced. Carl Willis, the pitching coach, now back with the Indians. High the opposite way out to Cabrera. Right in front of the track. Young with good speed will tag and easily trot into third base. So 2 outs, runners on the corners.
It's pretty good base running there by Eric Young Jr. because you see an outfielder going back. It's going to be a difficult, longer throw. And anytime you're at third base, especially with a pitcher that has a good curveball and cutter, there's a chance it could be a pitch bouncing there. You get a run that way.
Let's go back to the last time Kluber faced the Angels, April 4th, his second start of the season. Not even Zimmer can catch that one.
Dead center field. And when you hit a home run against Corey Kluber, and then he homered against Luis Severino on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, that's when you saw some special things in the future for Shohei Ohtani. He's touched 101 miles an hour pitching, and he's also touched some 96 to 98-mile-an-hour fastballs out of the ballpark.
And Kluber struck out Ohtani looking to in the first. Ohtani batting with 2 outs and runners on the corners. Pours over strike one.
Ohtani makes pretty good adjustments. Last at bat, Kluber threw him a couple cutters in, got him out looking on a cutter away.
And of course, Ohtani has been a one-man wrecking ball to the Indians this year. And the numbers, these come in only 3 games. 9 hits, 4 homers. He has driven in 8. Those are 2 home runs last night. But behind here, 0-2 to one of the game's best.
Tried that backdoor cutter again. That was a little bit off the plate. When you talk about popularity in the game, Shohei Ohtani, everywhere he goes, it's a slew of people trying to come up and say hi, get an autograph, or just get a glimpse of this version of Babe Ruth, what he's been able to do this season.
Kluber's 1-2. Here comes Ramirez and a couple of soft bounces to end the inning. Kluber strands runners on the corners. No scores. We go to the bottom of the third. That's where the catcher for the Indians, Roberto Perez, leads it off. Now some tough news potentially for the Indians. Yan Gomes last night having to exit the game. Some hamstring tendonitis, the results. So the all-star starting catcher for the Indians, not on the disabled list, but he'll be down a couple of days, it sounds like. This finds Fletcher at second. 2 outs, or excuse me, 2 pitches and 1 out. This was Yan Gomes last night after doubling.
See that grimace on his face. He's put together a pretty solid offensive season. Then has to come around and score. We know how well he throws the baseball. One of the strongest arms behind the plate in the American League. Solid defender. Put together some pretty good numbers offensively also this season with the power numbers.
Leonis Martin showing bunt, looking at strike 1, which, by the way, Gooby, worth pointing out. Well, for Pena, it was ball 1 to the first 7 hitters. He's gone 0-1 to the last 2 now.
And you get a 2-pitch out. Oh, the thought of throwing a first pitch strike.
To Pena's credit, as he gets ahead here 0-2. Martin not pleased with that check swing call.
And you'll get swings like that when you're ahead 0-1. Looks like he went after it. Across the plate. You don't need to ask for help. Joe West generally does not need help.
Joe West never needs help. 40 years. Come on now. Now, you were telling me that you never had him as an umpire?
No. And I've known him for a long time, but I've never had him as an umpire. Because you always had those National League umpires and American League umpires for the most part in my career. Never had Joe. Believe me, I remember every one of them behind the plate. I knew what was a good pitcher's umpire or hitter's umpire.
Broken back, ground ball. On to first in time. Oh, the MLB At-Bat mobile app brings every baseball moment to your favorite devices. Catch it all season with free MLB.tv Game of the Day, live radio broadcasts, in-game highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At-Bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball. Two up, two down, both on the ground, and here is Francisco Lindor.
It's a tough play there for Coward at third base, but he showed off a strong throwing arm. In high school, there was talk about him being drafted as a potential pitcher, but he can rush his fastball upper 90s in high school. And being a first-round pick, playing third base, has really struggled to hit at the major league level, but he's a very good defender with a strong arm.
Two and one now on Lindor. Now Lindor is already approaching his career high in home runs. That came last year, 33 a season ago. He's got 27 entering tonight. Now an all-star for the third consecutive year. Just barely gets a piece. 2-2.
And so often we talk about faces of baseball. For me, Francisco Lindor is one of those faces of baseball. Loves the game, has that smile, that energy, and he's put up some pretty good numbers to go along with that. One of my favorite players watching and get a chance to see, not as consistent as you'd like to, but when you get a chance to see him on highlights, he's always doing something special.
He gets rung up here, caught looking. It's another 1-2-3 inning by Felix Pena. Angels. We are scoreless beginning the top of the fourth. They have the shift on for Albert. Pujols now at number 24 on the all-time hit list. Next man up for him to track down is Ichiro. 21 hits shy. Into the shift. Lindor makes the long throw for number 1. Well, 2 terrific National League games are coming to FS1 next Saturday. We're looking forward to both of these. First, Anthony Rizzo and the Cubs hosting Bryce Harper and the Nationals, and the Brewers face off with the Braves. It all starts at 3 Eastern on FS1, or of course you can stream it live on the Fox Sports app.
Well, the Brewers really active at the trade deadline. They're a pretty deep team now.
Milwaukee a game out, the Braves a half game outside of first.
Well, the National League is wide open.
It really is. Stark contrast. This the opposite way in front of Cabrera. Andrelton Simmons a 1-out single.
Yeah, we talked about his first at bat where he can get up on a high pitch as good as anybody in the game. It may not look perfect on the follow through on the swing, but he will make hard contact on an elevated pitch. Drops the elbow to create that rising action on the fastball and brings his hands up. That's letter high and hit pretty hard the right field for a base hit. Good speed at first for a pitcher that has not allowed a stolen base since last August. And Corey Kluber.
Can you pinpoint a reason why?
He's got a very good move and he's quick to the plate. Even though you see a little bit of a leg kick, but he holds the ball. The best way to stop a running game is hold the baseball. Remember Ricky Henderson telling me that a long time ago. I could not steal bases if the pitcher held the ball. You could be quick to the plate, I'll time you, but if you hold the ball, most base stealers want to get some momentum going. Kluber, very good as far as holding the baseball.
Now Ricky was the greatest.
Just ask him.
Here's Fletcher at the plate, 1 out, 1 on.
You see how well he holds the baseball. When you look at times to the plate, I mean, he's probably around average. He's going to be anywhere between a 1.25 and a 1.35, which is about average for major league pitchers. So he doesn't use a slide step. Cliff Lee, who used to be here with Cleveland, had a tremendous slide step. Even though he didn't have a great move to first, so quick to the plate. Corey Kluber, just the opposite, holds the ball well. Quick footwork to throw the first also.
Well, there goes Simmons taking off. Hit and run on. Lindor cannot get the tag on. He throws out at first.
What we say about 2 shortstops with the quickest hands. He almost was able to reach back and touch. And it's Simmons going by to get a double play. But under control, a lot of shortstops will panic and it'll be a difficult throw. Even though he has 13 errors this season, still one of the best, not only in the American League, but all baseball at shortstop.
Now for the second straight inning, the Angels with a runner in scoring position against Kluber. Here is Arcia. He takes ball 1.
And you see Andrelton Simmons trying to avoid that tag and an awkward slide, and especially after what the Angel fans had saw with Mike Trout going to third base, you're always holding your breath.
Trout missing his 3rd straight game because of a wrist injury. Of course, last year was much more catastrophic for Trout and the Angels, missing 6 weeks, a torn ligament in his left thumb on a headfirst slide in Miami.
Pretty interesting when you look at Arcia here, Aaron, as far as his timing mechanism on his little leg kick. Odd, but he changed it from spring training into AAA. He's put up some pretty good numbers. We talk about very difficult to make sure you're balanced and through the baseball. His timing has been very good at the big leagues. When you mentioned that historic first 2 games with 10 RBI.
No other hitter in Major League history had ever driven in 10 runs in their first 2 games.
Think about how many people have played this game and it's first ever.
2 out, Simmons at second. Hard hit, Alonso. A low pick right by the shoelaces, and that will end the top of the 4th. We remain scoreless. Out their 7th overall this season. A packed house here at Progressive Field. They are scoreless as Michael Brantley will lead things off in the home half of the 4th inning. A gorgeous night, 82 degrees at first pitch. Happy to have you with us this evening. Major League Baseball on FS1. Big bats coming to the plate for Terry Francona, Brantley, Ramirez, and Encarnacion.
Numbers wise against Pena this season, coming into this game, 346 versus his fastball. It's 157 versus his breakable ball and changeup. We're trying to get ahead with his fastball to finish off with his breakable ball and changeup. Important if you're the Indians, you're trying to put yourself in fastball counts.
Now Michael's father, Mickey Brantley, in the house tonight, former big leaguer.
I remember facing him quite a bit.
4 years in the majors, all with Seattle.
He's a strong hitter. That's some good bat speed.
Well, he has enjoyed watching his son play in what is his 3rd All-Star season this year.
It's got to be a thrill. You make it up the big leagues yourself, but then to watch your son have this type of success.
Well, especially, doesn't every father want their son to have more success than they had?
Yep, exactly. And as a dad, he's sitting there, okay, this is what he's doing. He's that front shoulder, open it up a little bit, stay back, line it back up the middle.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Brantley, leading things off. He's been a little cold since the All-Star break, batting .200.
Remember, it's been a long time since he's been playing consistently, dealing with some injuries. So every once in a while, your back gets a little bit slower because of the at-bats keep coming, and you want to stay in your routine as far as early work, batting practice, all that. But sometimes you just step back a little bit more and just swing during the game. Look, he's out in front. He's got to stay back and try to drive out to left field. Just a little bit late on that one.
The 8th pitch of the at-bat. That's the 3rd walk, and the first since the 1st inning of Felix Pena. Leadoff man aboard for Jose Ramirez. Glad you can join us here tonight from Progressive Field. Aaron Goldsmith and Mark Gubicza. And Gubi, when we were talking with Terry Francona today, I think one of the real questions probably around this Indians team is how do they stay from being bored? Right? They're just counting down days until they win their 3rd consecutive division title. Their record within the division, well above 500. The record outside of the Central, beneath 500.
And that's the thing with Terry Francona. When we were talking to him earlier, he said there's certain things they has to try to get them to stay focused, because once you get into the postseason, every game means something. In other words, you fall behind in a series, you could be out quickly, so you have to have your focus and everything going well.
The 2nd time in as many at-bats Ramirez has popped up to Simmons. And you can see the numbers against the Central. They have just dominated their division, the most downtrodden division in the game. And the rest of the majors 27 and 34, including a losing record against the American League West.
But the point is, you have to, as a manager, try to keep your pitching staff focused. You got to keep your lineup really putting good swings in every single night in the batter's box, and you still have to stay aggressive running, and you got to play good defense. All those things come into play, but you got to have the team focused. Every game means something all the way to the end, so you have momentum going into the postseason. And if you ask anybody around baseball, this is still one of the most dangerous teams. Now they got Andrew Miller back in their bullpen. They are as good as anybody in baseball because they can hit for power, and they can run. Teams that are successful through the postseason are guys that put the ball in play and can manufacture runs along with hit the ball out of the ballpark.
3/4 swing and a miss, 1-1 to Encarnacion. Now, for the first time in Francona's tenure here with the Indians, the bullpen was not a weapon in the first half. In fact, By even the most basic of numbers, the bullpen was one of the worst in the major leagues. And it's a different story now. It's been a remarkably different bullpen since the All-Star break, now in part because of a deal made by the Indians. Of course, Brad Hand, the closer for the Padres, has come over. Adam Simber as well. So some reinforcements to the pen. And as you mentioned, Miller coming back.
They have so many different looks, different arm angles. Simber's a submariner. Oliver Perez throws 3/4. You got Andrew Miller, who has one of the most devastating sliders in all of baseball, give you multiple innings. So they're getting there, but he's going to have to try to work that bullpen into shape this year, especially with Andrew Miller. It's almost like spring training for him, where they're going to find a way to get him as many opportunities to get back, to get a good feel, because his fastball command was not there last night, his first time back from the disabled. His slider was.
Still 1-2. Brad Hand.
Terry Francona likes to use his bullpen, and if he can get his bullpen exactly where it was just a couple seasons ago when they got to that 7th game of the World Series against the Chicago Cubs, he's going to feel real comfortable for a long postseason run.
Now wait, did you say that Terry Francona likes to use his bullpen?
Maybe once in a while. He even told us that today. I like to use the bullpen. We go, no, really?
Well, after 2 months down because of a knee injury, Andrew Miller off the DL last night, making his return.
It's that slider. He can throw his slider both on the back door of the right-handed batter or down in that back foot. His fastball was around 91 to 93, but his slider, so good.
Talk about Simber and Hand coming over from San Diego. Another big reason why they are now a part of this Indians bullpen, aside from reinforcements this year. Well, you look at some guys who will be free agents at the end of the year. Miller one, Cody Allen, the closer, another.
So often hear that terminology, window of opportunity for this Cleveland club. For me, especially with the young infield they have, they still have at least 2 or 3 years, and they'll add on as they go along, but at least 2 or 3 years to be dominant in the AL Central.
After a brief delay, the 1-2. Encarnacion has been hot since the break. 326 his average. Batting with Brantley at first base, 1 out, 1 on.
This will land right on the hand with Brantley at first. 84 stolen bases as a team for Cleveland. Lindor was caught trying to steal in the first inning.
They're third in the majors in steals. Again, the 1-2.
See why he has those good numbers versus his break a ball and changeup. Mentioned that, just 157 coming in the game. That's a sharp break to it.
Simmons trying to make some magic happen. He gets rid of it in plenty of time. Well, you know, you think for a lot of shortstops that might be a dicey play, but between the not the fastest of foot speed for Encarnacion and the range that Simmons covers, pretty routine as it turns out.
Running this pitch inside. Oh, by getting it on the handle. I'm surprised that didn't shatter. Tried a little Phil Mickelson little lob shot in there, but Anderson Simmons does not allow that to happen.
Two outs and a man at second base. First time the Indians have had a man in scoring position. It brings up Yonder Alonso.
Alonso before, although we've seen him the last couple games very selective. He's generally a guy that will be up there swinging at the first pitch if it's in the strike zone.
On cue, swinging strike one.
He's starting to really pick up the power numbers the last couple of seasons. 18 home runs this season, 28 last year. Before that, career high was 9. Changed his swing, altered his swing as far as launch angle to lift the baseball.
Simmons charging over. He wants this one as well. And he puts it away to end the inning. Brantley stranded at second. Sponsored by Swiffer. If you've got a life, you got a Swiffer. To the top of the fifth, scoreless. Alonso anchoring the line. One pitch and one out. Let's go back to our studios in Los Angeles. KB, what you got going on?
Stepping in now for the Angels, the center fielder, Eric Young Jr.
Thank you, KB. You know, I saw the highlight of the Eric Thames walk-off home run. And I know Thames is about as yoked as anybody in the game,
Yeah.
but there's this need apparently to shred his uniform just to rip it off of him. 2 pitches and 2 outs.
He's a great story where he came from and what he's been able to accomplish with Milwaukee. And yes, he's cut pretty good.
This has the makings of a very quick inning for Corey Kluber.
And when you look at Milwaukee, Shaw, you thought, where's he going to get his at-bats? With Scope and Moustakas picked up, but they're finding a way to get that bat in the lineup. Craig Counsell's done a nice job managing that Milwaukee Brewer ball club.
You will see Counsell and the Brewers next week here on FS1. They will be in Atlanta. We'll have that game for you.
He of the odd stance as far as swinging the bat. Craig Counsell, the way he held that bat up high.
He had one of the longest hitless streaks of all time, I believe, which I would think that would prepare you to be a manager more than anything else.
Yes.
When you can survive that.
Because you know what it takes to be successful, and then when you struggle, to be able to have those conversations with your players.
He is Mr. Milwaukee.
Did he play baseball at Notre Dame? Is that where he went? Does that recall?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Nailed it. 0-2 on Calhoun. Well, that was a pretty easy breezy inning for Corey Kluber. Now a Hall of Famer, Jim Thome, one of the great home run hitters of all time. His statue here at Progressive Field.
Last weekend, Hall of Fame weekend, Jim Thome, his daughter sang the national anthem. I was crying. I can't imagine how he was able to even talk later on. His speech, by the way, was amazing. Everyone's speech. And it was so much fun being around all those Hall of Famers, the current ones and the ones that have been around and coming back. The largest group of Hall of Famers ever assembled there at Cooperstown. That was magical.
Well, Thome probably cares more that he is in the Hall of Fame of just overall good guys in the game.
Yeah. Yes.
Let alone one of the great home run hitters this game has ever seen.
And the amazing thing, when you walk up on him, you don't realize how big he is, and you're absolutely happy he's a good guy.
The 1-2. Levels it up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Melky Cabrera beginning the bottom of the 5th inning.
Felix Pena really has come back after 2 walks to start the game. He's been very good. Not allowed a hit to this moment. Mike Scioscia was looking to get to that 80 pitch range with him. It's a good 2-seam fastball. Struck at Lindor with that very same pitch. Tries to run that one back. Freezes a hitter at the hip. A la another Hall of Famer, Greg Maddux. Made that famous.
Young in center, sizes this up for round number 1. Well, speaking of Jim Thome, 8th all-time, 612 home runs. How about this? This is a great trivia question. 13 walk-off home runs, the most ever. All-time home run leader here in Cleveland, and one of 5 players, 500 home runs, 1,600 runs batted in, 1,700 walks.
Now, he could play in this game right now where they talk about the premium of home runs and walks.
That's right.
That's amazing how many walk-offs.
Kipnis on the first pitch. Young wants this one as well. 2 outs. How about a Hall of Famer on the other side of things? The first ever Hall of Famer as an Angel, Vladimir Guerrero.
And there wasn't a pitch you could throw as a pitcher that he was not going to hit hard. You could have bounced it in front of the plate, he would hit it. You could throw it over his head. He was going to hit it. 449 career home runs. Won the MVP as an Angel 2004. And there were so many people in Cooperstown, Angel fans, so excited to finally have their first Angel hat in Cooperstown.
Been a lot of Hall of Fame players play in an Angels uniform, but he the first to wear the cap in the plaque gallery rather. Well, very quick once again here in the bottom of the fifth. We remain scoreless. To face the minimum in the fifth inning. We open things up here in the sixth.
Yeah, but 8 pitches for Pena, 13 combined between the two to finish off an inning.
How about that?
What a concept.
Upton goes after the first pitch. This drops in. Lindor, bare hand throw to first, and he got him. What a play!
Are you kidding me? Under control. As soon as that baseball hit the grass, I thought there was no chance at all for Lindor to make that play with Justin Upton, who runs very well. Even though you're jammed out of the batter's box. Falls in nicely. And on the bare hand, and all in one motion, a perfect throw from Francisco Lindor. We talked about it in the beginning of the game. Two of the most special shortstops in the game on display here this evening. What a play that was.
Well, that is incredible. Even Anderson Simmons is tipping his cap at that. In steps Ohtani, showing bunt. I'm sure Terry Francona would love it if Ohtani bunted. The last at bat versus Kluber here in the third.
Pitch by pitch, see if there was a just made cutter first pitch. He got him out on a couple cutters last time. Break a ball, curve ball down lower part of the strike zone out in front. Tried to backdoor cutter just a little bit off the plate. And then a little off-speed pitch got him out in front, gets that ground ball out to third. So often when I look at Kluber, I think of Greg Maddux because he uses both sides of the plate so well. He'll cut that fastball in against the lefty, but he'll come right back with that two-seamer, then run back and freeze you and catch the corner.
Kluber ahead 1-2.
Looks like a strike, ends up out of the strike zone. Sharp break, good spin that one.
Backs him off and gets a strike call. Good punch out.
Greg Maddux. That's the Greg Maddux fastball that made it so good. Two-seam grip, looks like a ball, Freeze is a hitter, runs it back and catches the corner. Former Cleveland Hall of Famer Burt Blyleven, when you talk about curveballs. But that two-seam fastball really what made Greg Maddux the pitcher that he was. He cut that fastball in, but bring that two-seamer right back and catch a corner.
Shift down for Pujols, who looks at strike one. Pujols now 0 for 18 in his career against Corey Kluber. There's only been one pitcher he has ever faced that he has gone hitless in a longer streak against, and that was Hisashi Iwakuma, who's been on the disabled list all year for the Mariners. 0 for 20.
But Albert, with his power, though, any mistake that Kluber would make, Albert's got a chance hit a long way. And Albert Pujols has homered against 405 different pitchers in his future Hall of Fame career.
Pujols ahead, 3 balls and a strike.
Even with a 3-1 count, Kluber's not going to give in and challenge Pujols with a fastball here.
Well, he picks up his first hit. Pujols now 1 for 19 lifetime against Kluber.
That's a pretty good piece of hitting by Albert. Stayed back on that one well. 92-mile-an-hour fastball, did throw it. And a smile on his face. See how that runs the middle of the plate? Not many pitches, the middle of the plate for Kluber. Two-seamer runs back, and Pujols lines it to right center field. And Albert Pujols is telling Yonder Alonso, yeah, that's my first hit.
Throw that ball back.
Yes.
Authenticate that. 2 outs, Pujols at first base. Here is Simmons, who singled his last time up.
Numbers this year against Kluber, and they're not great numbers. But if you're going to get a hit against him, it's more like it's going to be a fastball. 269 coming in. That was a fastball that Albert hit. It's 191 versus his secondary pitches.
Almost no chance.
That's why you see early swings, hoping you get a fastball first pitch.
Weak ground ball. Kipnis, a little flip. And that will end the inning. Pujols is stranded. Obviously a house divided there. Angels and Indians fan, as Leonis Martin leads it off for the Indians at the bottom of the 6th inning. Indians looking for their first hit against Pena. Martin, a 9th inning home run last night. His 10th of the year, his first as a member of the Indians, just recently acquired by Cleveland, coming over from within the division, coming over from the Tigers.
He's generally always a threat to either drag bunt or push bunt. Now on a 2-0 count, he's looking to do some damage. He is a very good bunter.
After he arrived in Cleveland and spoke to the media for the first time, Martin was quick to note that he is very happy to not have to face Corey Kluber and Trevor Bauer anymore. I've seen enough of them this year in the Central.
And the Angels remember him very well from all those years in Texas. He's put up some pretty good numbers.
Some time in Seattle as well in the West. This is muscled. Crank, Calhoun, track, wall, and gone. Home runs back-to-back nights. And Leonis Martin finding a nice new home here in Cleveland. He has put the Tribe on top with their first hit of the ball game.
Talked about put yourself in one of those good fastball counts, and that's exactly what Leonis Martin did against Felix Pena. And really, after the first inning, which struggles with command, is throwing the ball exactly where he's wanted to throw and hit his spots throughout. And he get a fastball there in this count, and it's right down the heart of the plate, lower part of the strike zone, that happy zone for a left-handed swing. 11 home runs on the season for Martin. Mentioned 346 batting average against Pena in his fastball this season. He was forced into a fastball there.
Top of the order here is Lindor. Lindor slice. Young chasing after it. Can't get there. One hops the wall. Lindor on the hunt for 2. And he slides into the double. No hits through 5. A home run, then a 2-base hit.
You talk about letting the baseball travel with the thought process of hitting that ball the other way. 35th double this season for Lindor. Baseball was almost in the catcher's mitt, letting it get back deeper in the strike zone, and he one hops the wall left center field. And for the Angels, even though it's a 1-0 deficit, the way Kluber is throwing, you have to think in terms of, I had to find a way to stop this damage right now. Cleveland, with all these left-handed batters, Brantley's a good situational hitter. He's trying to, at the very least, hit a ball to the right side of the infield. And you also have to keep an eye on Lindor at second, as far as trying to time a pitcher and try to steal. You got to vary your look, because Lindor is very good as far as reading pitchers if they're not paying attention to him at second.
Way outside. Jim Johnson getting loose right away.
A couple pitches in this inning, Aaron, where have been well off the outside corner. That's got to be a pretty good indication that maybe now, even though it's 73 pitches, when you're locked in against a pitcher like Corey Kluber, every pitch you throw is a stressful pitch. So sometimes you can throw 120 pitches in a game, but if you got a significant lead, it's easy. But when you're up trying to match zeros up with one of the best in the game, it's stressful.
Garcia makes his way back behind home. Brantley, one of the best home hitters in the major league so far this year. He's batting .337 here inside Progressive Field. That being said, he is without an official at bat tonight. He has walked twice. Lindor, the double, leads at second. Nobody out. Now ahead 2-1.
He has not chased any of those pitches for Pena that have been a little bit below the strike zone tonight. Been very patient.
He is one of the hardest hitters to strike out in the game. The only man more difficult is the shortstop for the Angels, Andrelton Simmons.
I hated facing those guys like that. At that point, my thought process was, hey, I'm going to put the ball in play in the first or second pitch. I'm not going to strike him out. So why waste
sure.
5 or 6 pitches? He's going to put it in play anyhow. So give him something close enough to the plate where they're going to make contact and then utilize your defense.
Line right field, fair, no, foul ball. Boy, that was close. That was close. It's a full count.
It's that third time through now, and it's a break ball, the one you want to try to throw for a strike, and he was ready, and he just missed that one. Would have been another extra base hit for the Indians in this inning.
His father looking on still.
So keeping that hands in, keeping the hands, staying back, just a little quick on a slow breaking ball.
This time up the middle into center field. Lindor hits the bag at third. He's coming home. And the Indians have jumped out to a 2-0 lead.
And you see that clap for Lindor. What an at-bat for Brantley, because he was out in front slightly on a curveball. And then he's able to bring his hands up on a fastball that was in the inner half at 91. It's pretty impressive. He made that adjustment. You had him tracking the lower part of the strike zone with the breakable. Then he stays back with his hands on a high fastball and picks up an RBI single. Like you mentioned, Aaron, very good at home here.
Nobody out. Brantley at first. As we look at our Budweiser game summary, Pena, 5 no-hit innings. Now a couple of hits and a couple of runs here in the 6th inning. Kluber, basically what you come to expect. 5 strikeouts over 6 scoreless. And then Leonis Martin homering on consecutive nights. He opened things up here in the 6th. A very rare 0 for 2 so far for Jose Ramirez. As he looks at strike 1. I mean, it has been nearly impossible to keep him off the bases.
1 for 6 so far in the series against the Angels.
Since the start of May, this is almost unbelievable. Since the beginning of May, Gooby, there have been 4 games where he has not reached base.
That's why his name is at the very top as far as that list of MVP candidates. You know, yes, 25 stolen bases to boot to go along with all those times on base.
AL ranks entering today. JD Martinez homering for the Red Sox, now with 33. But he is no worse than 3rd in some of the major categories. And he's ahead here 2-1 facing Pena. Brantley the runner at first.
I like to have that pitch back in the day. Call it strike. Yeah, I'll take that one.
2-2.
Now what that forces a hitter, you're more likely you're going to chase a pitch away. You'd have to pitch away, but he is going in now. Well, a lot of times the Angels, what they'll do is set the catcher in and throw over the first and then go back away. But if you see a hitter chase seeing that pitch called a strike, you have to go away.
First 3 men have reached for the Indians here in the bottom of the 6th. The 2-2. Out of play foul.
Talk about missing location of a changeup. That was in the heart of the plate. Terry Francona loves bubble
I was
gum.
going to say, if you're looking for Tito, find the bucket of gum.
Yes.
Another 2-2. Jackknifes in full count.
I don't know how he got out of the way of that one. That was running right at his shin.
Encarnacion on deck.
Potential last batter of the game here for Pena. 84 pitches now. And the trust in Terry Francona and Jose Ramirez putting this ball in play, or if it's out of the strike zone taken, you're going to more likely see Brantley on the move. 3-2, even though there's no outs.
Count still full. Now Pena today facing an offense that led the majors in runs, in OPS, in average, in extra base hits last month. And this lineup is clicking on all cylinders. Sliced out to left, up and is able to make the catch. There's the first out of the inning.
Baseball was hit pretty well. Justin Upton able to track that one down.
And as expected, here comes Mike Scioscia. So Pena pitches into the 6th. 5 1/3. Allowing the 2 runs and responsible for Brantley at first base. Scioscia takes the ball. And he is going to his bullpen. We'll step aside. 2-0 Indians. As Jim Johnson, a former All-Star closer, is on to pitch here with Brantley at first base in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Still has a good firm fastball. It's 91, 95 range. Gets a lot of ground balls with his sinker. Good curveball and changeup.
Very tough on right-handers. Facing one here in Encarnacion. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's a pretty big lead for Brantley, and Jim Johnson a little bit slower to the plate, susceptible to a stolen base.
Four steals and 7 tries against Johnson this year. Make a move over that way. Of course, Johnson had back-to-back 50 save seasons in his final years with the Orioles. Was an all-star one of those seasons. Led the majors both years in saves. Fletcher, the second baseman, out. 2 down.
Always tell by a reaction by a hitter when they felt they had a pitch hit a long way, and he missed that one.
A manager dream team in franchise mode, plus get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated E for everyone.
And I always love that too when you see a hitter get upset with that. I'm like, hey, you had your pitch.
It is just a gorgeous night. We're happy to have you with us here tonight from Progressive Field. 82 degrees at first pitch. Another sellout crowd here in Cleveland. And Alonso taking ball 1. Alonso, an all-star last year with the A's, didn't finish the season in Seattle. Carlos Santana no longer here in Cleveland, on to Philadelphia, so it is Alonso to come in and take his place at first base. No American League first baseman has driven in more runs than Alonso, 64. And of course, to drive in runs, you have to have guys on base, and needless to say, he's had 3 or 4 in front of him pretty often so far this year.
You can make a routine out and get an RBI. All those guys in front of him.
All right, we talked about how often Ramirez has been on base this year.
Lindor, Brantley, they don't strike out a whole lot. In this day and age of a lot of strikeouts. Lindor with a good swing his last at bat, but that play he made on Justin Upton, I have no idea how he's able to make that play, because Upton runs well to spin on that baseball, to come in with the bare hand and throw him out at first base. Special player.
Now it's good to see Lindor's hair growing back. You remember earlier in the season, he made a deal with his high school baseball team that if they went undefeated, that he would shave his head, and they shaved his head, and it looked like they were a little rough. They did not look like they had spent many times holding the clippers before. All it takes is time.
Yeah.
That was Mount Verde Academy.
Especially when you're young, that hair can grow back a little bit quicker.
Lindor, of course, from Puerto Rico, then went to high school in Florida. Way out in front. That ends the inning. 2 runs due across, though. The Indians strike first. Indians on the board now, leading 2-0. Kluber facing rookie second baseman David Fletcher. Starts him off with strike one. Ramirez off to his left. Plants. Out number one. Now back to Los Angeles. Kevin Burkhardt with an update.
To the plate now for the Angels, number 37, Francisco Garcia.
All right, thank you, KB. Gooby, you're a Philly guy. Did you see this coming from Philadelphia?
No. No. It was a couple years ago. The winning percentage combined for all four teams was about under 400. Believe me, I know all those things. The Super Bowl, and then you had the trust in the process with the Sixers. The Flyers, of course, always pretty good. But the Phillies, a couple years ahead of schedule. You think Gabe Kapler done a nice job. That first day, well, they wanted him out. They wanted to fire him.
He was on the hot seat.
One day.
Yeah, after the first week, they're talking about running him out of town.
Yeah, but you know, he's a real positive person. It's rubbed off on his players, and they performed very well in a division where everyone anticipated the Nationals being the team to beat.
Now, who is a bigger Eagles fan? You or the Angels center field?
He's got better seats at the link, so I'll have to go with him on that one. But I've been around a lot longer in life, so I think I have that years over him. And a lot of bad, lean years, too.
It's true. 6 strikeouts now for Corey Kluber. Garcia down swinging.
Keeps that front shoulder in so well, and a tight break to that one. And every one of his pitches from the exact same arm angle. That's what makes him special. Sometimes you'll see pitchers slow down on a curveball or to change up just to take a little bit off. Everything's exactly the same. Very, very difficult for hitters to track.
Well, the Angels were supposed to be in a playoff push right now, and Zach Cozart was supposed to be their third baseman. That is not the case. Cozart on the disabled list with shoulder surgery, and it's Caleb Cowart on the hot corner tonight.
And also a great start, Mike Scioscia's club, 13-3 to start the season.
At one point early, winning 11 on the road. No team has used more players than the Angels, 52 in fact. They set a team record last year with 55. That is within reach.
Well, you still have September call-ups to add on there.
Inning by inning pitch count for Kluber.
It allows you to get deep in the game. You have a 7-pitch inning and a 5-pitch inning like you had in the 5th. Even a 17-pitch inning is not too bad. Clevenger had, I think, a 30-pitch inning last night, the first inning for Cleveland.
He was still able to get deep somehow. Kluber's 3-2. Muscle out to center. Martin in front of the track. Hangs up plenty enough to make the catch. Kluber retires his side in order once again. Fox, it's part 2 of the exclusive documentary about Baker Mayfield. Follow the NFL's #1 draft pick as he navigates his way through the complex world of professional football. All the way up, Baker Mayfield Part 2 tomorrow at 3 Eastern on Fox, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app.
I'm looking forward to seeing him compete in the NFL. He's a leader.
#1 overall by these Browns here in town. That should be good. Well, we've had a call to the bullpen once again. Alonso Robles warming up.
Yeah, he's got a fastball, a firm fastball. He's 96, 98. Throw a tight slider and a changeup.
Facing Melky Cabrera to begin the bottom of the 7th. Cabrera 0 for 2. Missing for ball 1. Well, the Angels winning last night in game 1, which is really kind of noteworthy when you look at these two teams recently. Last year, the Indians sweeping the season series. They won all 6 games. They went 5-1 against the Angels 2 years ago. And last night, the Angels snapped their 10-game losing streak in this ballpark. And the games were not exactly close.
No, they were outscored 80-30 on that 10-game losing streak here at Progressive Field for the Angels versus Cleveland. The Angels won 2 out of 3 to start the season against Cleveland in Anaheim.
Now, would you sum that up as just one of those unexplainable things in baseball, losing 10 in a row in a ballpark? Now, it's not like the Indians have been too shabby in recent years.
No, they've been good, but a lot of those games too were tight till late in the game, and that's a pretty good magic. We've seen over the last couple of seasons, they had that great run 2 years in a row where they had prolonged winning streaks, where they gained that magic from this fan base here in Cleveland. They came back late and scored a lot of runs.
Overall, the Indians have won 12 of their last 15 against Anaheim. Cabrera draws the leadoff walk. Fourth walk tonight drawn by an Indians hitter. Well, we were telling you about the injuries, especially to the pitching staff, and a lot of these guys, Tommy John.
Yeah, Richards, Keenan Middleton, they were counting on being the closer. J.C. Ramirez, it was a great story last year. Blake Wood, Alex Meyer with a shoulder, and John Lamb they brought up 2 starts into basically Tommy John surgery. Tyler Skaggs, who was scheduled to pitch tomorrow, scratched, put on the DL. So Mike Scioscia's club will be tested once again as far as depth in their bullpen.
Brandon Guyer on as a pinch runner for Cabrera at first base. Now, the Angels have used 29 pitchers. They used 31 all of last year. In steps Kipnis. Been a tough year for Kipnis. 218 now the average.
Once a doubles machine.
You're right. 43 of them in his all-star season of 2015. This bounces well away. Garcia having to go all the way towards the dugout. Meanwhile, Guyer into third as this gets over the screen. And they're going to put him back.
Not a whole lot you could do if you're Garcia behind there. That hits right on the plate and it skips. Guyer looking back and see how far away that went. Once it goes into the stand of the dugout, just one base.
Nobody out. Guyer at second. Now 3-0.
Impressive. 900th career game at second base last night, 4th most in Cleveland history.
He's been a staple here for many years.
Him and Cole Calhoun, teammates in Arizona State, outfielders for Arizona State.
Calhoun, the Gold Glove right fielder. There's Cole. That's consecutive walks to begin this bottom of the seventh. Not a good start for Robles.
Josh Paul, I want to give a shout out to his dad, Bill, turned 89 today. First year as a bench coach for Mike Sosa's baseball club here.
Congrats to both.
Yes, 89 years old. Bill Paul, happy birthday.
A talk here with Robles.
A lot of times the Angels, when you have a long conversation like this, whether it's before the first pitch or even a pitch delivered to the plate, there could be a play put on as far as a pickoff or back pick at second base.
Geyer at second, Kipnis at first, and Roberto Perez, the catcher, up to the plate. He's bounced out twice to second.
Sacrifice situation. That's why there could be a pickoff, as you try to keep Geyer close. 2 sacrifice bunts for Perez.
Bunt pushed foul. Perez just a 160 hitter on the season. Again, Yan Gomes, some hamstring tendonitis, out tonight, probably tomorrow as well, the next couple of days, in fact. Robles now picks it up on to first. Pujols ducks out of the way. Fletcher covering.
3rd sacrifice bunt of the season for Perez.
1 out, 2 in scoring position for a hot hitter, Leonis Martin. Last night, 9th inning.
That baseball went a long way last night also. And same thing here tonight. Fastball. He's always been a very good fastball hitter. Been an aggressive hitter throughout his career, but he put himself in good situations, both at bats, to sit on a fastball. Once had a walk-off home run against the Angels when he's a member of the Texas Rangers.
A native of Cuba. Batting here with 2 in scoring position and 1 out.
Not necessarily known as a home run hitter, but he does have 7 career home runs against the Angels.
He's had a pretty instant impact. This is 3rd game, 4 for 7 in an Indians uniform. Those 2 home runs we just saw. This gets away from Arcia and easily brings home Geyer from 3rd base. 3-0 Cleveland.
That was supposed to be a slider, and Arcia was anticipating that more of a break in and ended up going away instead of a backup slider, and it fooled him.
Ruled a pass ball.
One of those tough ones too, as a catcher, anticipating break to that pitch and it backs up the other way. You're waiting the last minute to try to frame it, and it backs up and goes away from you and off the glove. Tough pass ball, even though you want to try to catch that and frame it.
Infielded, 1 out. Kipnis at 3rd. That's right through 96.
Robles loves to run his fastball upper part of the strike zone, especially against lefties. I imagine he'll try another one. We clocked up to 98 miles an hour this season.
'97 missing inside. This proves that it takes more than just velocity. Robles earlier this year had a really rough time with the Mets. He's not the only one who has said that this year.
Maybe one or two others.
7 home runs, fewer than 20 innings.
Hitters now can hit a firm fastball. They can hit a fastball that 95, 96, 97 range.
His payoff. This is scorched down by the pole. It's yanked foul.
Another flat slider thrown for Robles. See that spin right out over the plate. When you look at distance for home runs, most of the longest home runs are versus slider because they break right to the barrel of the bat.
Kipnis the runner at third. Another 3-2. Swings right through 97. 2 outs.
Now the plate for the Indians.
Challenge him, fastball 97, a little late movement. Got to buy him after that slider of the pitch before he was out in front.
Now I said it takes more than velocity, but velocity is still pretty good.
Yeah, I would love to have that just for fun. But it's still, you have to locate that fastball. If it's the heart of the plate, and there's somebody right here that will crush a fastball when it's at the heart of the plate, and Francisco Lindor. In the game yesterday, his batting average versus fastballs, 325 with 17 home runs. Double on a fastball his last at bat.
Kipnis still at third. 2 outs. Well, which is more impressive as they appeal down to third base? 0-2. Which is more impressive? The 27 home runs as a leadoff hitter or as a shortstop?
Everything he does, impressive. It's going back to that golden age where you had Nomar Garcia Parra, Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez, Omar Vizquel, Miguel Tejada, all those great power numbers and hitters in the shortstop position.
Grazes him in 98.
There is some outstanding young talent in the shortstop position now in baseball. Around baseball in general. So many gifted athletes.
Well, how else do you explain Andrelton Simmons not an all-star, right?
Well, Gene Segura's put together a really good season. They were in that final vote. Yeah, when you have a player like Andrelton Simmons and he's not in the all-star game, that tells you what talent there is in this league.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Now looking very close.
It looks like it's touching that lower part of the strike zone.
Now speaking of Simmons, throws a dart to first base. Pujols tumbles, but Lindor is out. That was close.
Got a lot on that throw, and you needed all that arm strength to get Lindor at first base.
Kipnis stranded. Another run crosses. The game, he is in right field, took over as a pinch runner for Melky Cabrera. Eric Young leads it off in the top of the 8th, looks at strike one. Now for Kluber, his last start pitching into the 8th inning, that was in Detroit, just the 1 run against obviously a rebuilding Tigers team. But the start before that, you don't typically see 9 hits, 7 runs, albeit 3 earned. Only 4 innings. That was against the Pirates, his last home start. And the start before that, 6 runs all earned. Pitching into the 8th against the Yankees. This is back-to-back starts where he is working into the 8th inning, and to this point, no runs.
Yeah, Terry Francona was telling us before the game he's got to get certain guys locked in to make that long run in the postseason. This is probably one of the most important people on this team for Terry Francona, and that's Corey Kluber. That year they went to the World Series against Chicago, he seemed like he pitched every day. They had a number of guys hurt in their rotation. Their bullpen was used a lot. Trevor Bauer was not available. He was fantastic.
This is scorched, but right to Kipnis at second base. 1 out. Now Corey Kluber, tonight's Gatorade proven performer. He has been tremendous.
I think it jumps out. 10 ground ball outs. He has 6 strikeouts solid. He's used that backdoor cutter very well. But 10 ground ball outs, utilizing that defense for the Indians, has been outstanding. Just 1 walk into the 8th inning now. Another dominant performance, and we usually have seen that over the years.
Well, his pitch count 82, his high water mark this year 116. As he pitches with 1 out of the 8th. The offering to Calhoun. Down the line. Foul ball over towards Michael Brantley.
Well, you know, it's his back leg stronger, his knee stronger as he's pushing off the pitching rubber. That's allows him to have better balance and more consistent with his follow through and the same arm angle every time. He is smooth in his delivery, very compact. He looks locked in again. You see a lot of times with right-handed pitchers starting on that first base side. The reason why you start on the first base side of the pitching rubber so you can get inside the left-handed batters. Derek Lowe was one of the first that started that, being a sinker ball pitcher, able to run that fastball in. Most times you used to start on the middle or third base side.
He's got a piece of Calhoun, it looks like. Is it easy to explain why it is we don't see more guys doing that?
As you see right here, the foul ball. Part of the reason why you do that is because if you don't have a whole lot of set, that's right off the shin. And the reaction by Cole was one of the toughest guys in the game. The reason why you move over that first base side is because you had not a lot of success against lefties. So if you start over there, it's kind of almost like a crossfire feel for it. So you can run that fastball cutter in and then start the fastball at a left-hander's hip and bring it back till it hits that corner.
Calhoun a little bruised. They have the shift on for him. Martin at center, coasted off to his right. 2 down.
He has squared up a lot of baseballs, hitting the ball the other way. Not only the home run totals, but his base hits, baseballs hit hard the other way.
Career ERA leaders, minimum 1,000 innings. Kershaw 2.37. For some injuries in recent years, then Sale, Bumgarner, and Corey Kluber.
And when you look at numbers between, say, Clayton Kershaw, he's off the charts. There's a big difference between pitching in the American League as compared to the National League. So it's pretty close and even between Kershaw and Kluber.
Two outs, nobody aboard. 0-1 to Justin Upton.
Chris Sale trying to battle back from a little shoulder issue with Boston. He's pretty special too. He has struggled in his career against Cleveland though. Cleveland has had some real good swings against Chris Sale since the time he came up to the big leagues.
I saw plenty of them during his days with the White Sox. Ramirez getting loose. 1-2. Strike 3 called inside corner, and Corey Kluber has been in command since pitch number 1. Two great National League games are coming to FS1 next Saturday. First, Anthony Rizzo and the Cubs hosting Bryce Harper and the Nationals. Then the Brewers will face off with the Braves. It all starts at 3 Eastern on FS1 or stream it live on the Fox Sports app.
Nationals starting to play a little better. A couple games over 500.
Cubs in first place right now. Noe Ramirez, the new pitcher up on the mound for the Angels.
Yeah, a couple people around baseball, you kept reading that maybe Bryce Harper was going to be traded. That did not happen. And if you're the Braves or the Phillies and they're still close by, you're still fairly nervous. That is a very deep club. This has not played real well yet.
No, it hasn't. Not at all. Especially compared to expectations. Now Ramirez facing the teeth of this order. It begins with Michael Brantley. An RBI single his last time up. Starts him off with strike 1.
Ramirez, when he first started off, the first couple months of the season, very effective, but the long ball has really caught up to him. 12 home runs allowed out of the bullpen for Noe Ramirez. Fastball is not overpowering. He spots well 90, 92 range, but his changeup and curveball are his out pitches.
Chopper over to Simmons. 1 down.
I've seen many shortstops throw from over the top as much as Anderson Simmons. That's where he was such a good pitcher, even in junior college. He could bring a fastball himself. We talked about Coward. He was mid to upper 90s himself closing games. I was joking around a couple years ago when the bullpen was getting used quite a bit. I said, hey, between you and Coward, can you guys close a game? And they go, if Mike Scioscia asks, we will try it.
Well, awfully rare this year that Jose Ramirez is batting in the 8th inning yet to reach base.
He does a real nice job as far as the outside part of the plate, off-speed pitches against him.
Ramirez has a chance to be a 40-40 guy this year. 32 home runs, 25 steals. Steals might be a challenge with 2 months to go. Kind of piece of Arcia behind the plate.
How well has he hit a fastball this season coming into the series? A .315 batting average, 27 home runs on a fastball. Out in front, the follow through off the helmet. And Francisco Arcia behind the plate. Another changeup. In this day of information, sometimes maybe too much for certain hitters, but you know exactly as a pitching staff how well Ramirez has hit a fastball. So you're just trying to avoid those counts. Even if you're in a fastball count, they've thrown a lot of off-speed pitches, forcing him to hit the ball to left field.
Charles Nagy, the pitching coach. Right side and a base hit. And you just cannot keep him off the base paths.
And it was a fastball. He brought his hands inside pretty well on that one. Charles Nagy knows a little bit about winning games here in this ballpark. 91-mile-an-hour fastball brings his hands in, and it was elevated and still able to get that through the hole between first and second for a base hit. There's Charlie. Still a huge fan favorite here in Cleveland.
And a former starter for the Indians. Look at Game 3 of the '97 World Series. He was the starting pitcher for the Tribe. And can you guess who the home plate umpire was?
Joe West.
Joe West.
I'm sure Charlie said that to him too.
But on that quest for a 40-40 season, Ramirez is a bag closer, 26 now.
Picking the right pitch to go on. Got a great jump, little walking lead, and then going. It's interesting to see that path he takes right there towards the grass and the dirt, the shorter angle to get to the base. Slides in there. 26 stolen base with 30 attempts.
He is 20 for his last 22.
Also got to keep your eye on him if you're Ramirez at second also.
Near the line and a fair ball. Long throw, Coward on a bounce to Pujols, and Ramirez into third.
It's a pretty good indication of that arm strength for Coward at third base. That is a long throw. He's playing deep to begin with. Has to avoid the umpire, and then a lot on that one hop throw. Pujols scoops it. It's not an easy scoop, that short hop like that, especially with a lot on it. But Coward showing off that arm strength.
Two outs, Ramirez at third base. And steps Yonder Alonso 0 for 3. Corey Kluber waiting to go back out in the 9th inning, looking for his second complete game of the season. It would be his first at home. 90 pitches right now for Kluber, which for him in particular is nowhere near the danger zone.
No, and notice there, because he's not a guy that overthrows, not a lot of sweat. Kind of jealous. If I was in the going into the 9th inning, I probably would have went through like 3 or 4 different shirts at that point.
Corey Kluber seems like his overall demeanor does not really change regardless of just about anything.
And he would not be a good guy to play Texas Hold'em with there. You wouldn't know if he had a good hand or not.
Now, he has been one of the best at going the distance. Pujols far off the bag. Ramirez covering. And that ends the 8th inning. It is out of the 9th. Corey Kluber on for the complete game. At the top of the 9th inning, Pujols, then Simmons, Corey Kluber, 3 outs away from a complete game shutout of the Angels.
See if he goes to that same pattern after that fastball up. We'll throw that cutter in.
He's made quick work of Ohtani the last couple of at-bats.
There it was. And he jammed them enough to keep it in the ballpark.
1 down.
And even though you look at patterns against Kluber, you're still unable to get your hands in on this baseball to get the barrel. Cutter in after a fastball away just enough towards that label of the bat. Kept it in the ballpark. As he gets the barrel of the bat, that's going a long way.
Well, after beginning his career 0 for 18 against Kluber, Pujols a single into right field his last at bat. And you saw it just a moment ago. Since Kluber's first Cy Young season of 2014, since the start of that year, only Clayton Kershaw with more complete games. Kluber and Cueto both with 6. Kershaw with 8.
When you have that conversation, the best in the game, especially in the American League, you got Verlander, you got Kluber, you got Chris Sale, National League, you got Bumgarner, you got Kershaw. As a manager, that's what you want. You know you have that in the bank as far as a pitcher that's going to go deep in the game, so you can utilize your bullpen the day before or the day after.
Well, a chance for a Maddox. 95 pitches. 2 outs of the 9th inning. Second consecutive sellout crowd and the 7th this year in Cleveland. And the last hope for the Angels tonight is Andrelton Simmons, 1 for 3. Takes strike one.
How he brings that two-seamer back. As a right-handed batter, you're thinking that's well off the plate. That just missed.
Hasn't been much for Carl Willis to do tonight. Weak ground ball. Kluber. He will apply the tag, and what a way for this game to come to a close. 98 pitches, all it takes for Corey Kluber. A complete game shutout of the Angels.
On a Hall of Fame weekend here in Ohio and Canton for football, that's a Hall of Fame performance by Corey Kluber. 7th career shutout, 17th career complete game for Corey Kluber. What a gem here tonight.
Now come on, Gooby. The first ever complete game shutout to end on a 1-assisted putout. It's got to be, right?
I would imagine.
That can't have happened much before.
That's the thing. You want to field your position, but you don't want to take away that throw. I said, I got enough pitches in the game. I'll just tag him myself.
Well, this Angels offense, now granted without Mike Trout, has been very hot since the All-Star break, and Corey Kluber carved right through them.
Yeah, they've hit the ball well to all fields. Has been good situation hitting, but tonight Corey Kluber just had everything working. Felix Pena threw the ball very well. Had a no-hitter going into 6th inning. A change with Leonis Martin with a home run, and then Francisco Lindor doing what he does best, an extra base hit.
Now the Indians have now won 13 of their last 16 against the Angels. Kluber making it look pretty easy here tonight. All he needed was a run. He got 3. As the Indians win tonight, they've evened up this series. They win it 3-0. And we appreciate you tuning in. For all who made this one possible here in Cleveland, for my partner Mark Gubiza, I'm Aaron Goldsmith, our entire FS1 crew. How about Mark Sweeney, Dontrell Willis, and Kevin Burkhardt? Guys, take it away.